Welcome to Harmony Talk, a conversation with dreamers and doers from every walk of life: music, art, literature, science, industry, sports, and more. This podcast is brought to you by AM Skyer, the third-generation family insurance business started in 1920. I'm your host, Lisa Champeau. Today's guest is Regina Sayles, a singer, songwriter, and guitarist based in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, the Poconos region of the state. In July 2023, Regina won Top Emerging Artist at the 47th Annual National Women's Music Festival in Madison, Wisconsin, and she returned to the festival the following year as a headliner. And I think it's been pretty nonstop since then. She will be performing with the Northeast Pennsylvania Philharmonic at our sister organization, Harmony in the Woods, on August 17th in a benefit concert for the local NPR station, WVIA. Regina's music, which blends folk, rock, and soul, goes right to the heart. She has opened for feminist icon Annie DeFranco, and with her former singing partner, Christian Porter, she also opened for Pat Benatar, the Steve Miller Band, and Frankie Ballard. Porter and Sayles, as they were called, also earned a featured spot on the Melissa Etheridge cruise in 2019. Regina is also a passionate educator, a supporter of women in the arts, and a strong advocate for the LGBTQ+ community. She has worked as an artist in residence at both K through 12 and college levels, and a video of school children singing with Regina went totally viral on TikTok. It's a really fun video. If you have time, I encourage you to check it out. Regina joins us from East Stroudsburg. Thank you so much for being with us on Harmony Talk today.
Well, thanks for having me, Lisa.
Well, you are a busy lady. So tell us a little bit about your beginnings. I know you were born in Ohio, but was singing something you embraced at an early age?
My mom has cassette tapes of me, which I was so embarrassed of that I think I destroyed them, of singing like "Kookaburra sits on the old gum tree," and but it was pretty. Now that I'm an educator and I actually teach voice, I can recognize in my younger self that I actually had really good pitch, and just I had a natural singing voice kind of. And then, as I furthered my studies and stuff when I was in college, I actually took voice lessons and learned how to use my voice properly, which is great. But I did always really love to sing. I just was always singing in school, and I was in, all the school plays and musicals and all that kind of stuff. So that's really where all of it started. Then guitar lessons at age 10. But I played a lot of sports, so it was kind of just something I did on the side. And really the thing that got me to start playing and singing by myself, I had a band when I was in high school. I was 17. We had a 4-piece rock and roll band, but I didn't really start embracing playing acoustic until I was in college. I started playing at parties, and my friends were like, "You should quit your retail job and go play out and make some money doing this. You'd make better money." So that's kind of how it all started. I didn't really plan on this being the career. I was a theater major, and I did a lot of auditioning in New York my first couple of years out of college, but the music and the singing kind of just took over, so I just went with it.
So you went with it and made a career of it. You are making a career of it.
Yes, full-time career out of it between educating and also playing since 2012. But before that, I had a lot of odd jobs. But yeah, it's really been a life passion for sure.
Well, your voice has been compared to, and I'm quoting here, a free jazz Joni Mitchell, a smoky Karen Carpenter, and a rocking Sheryl Crow. Wow.
Which is which is a huge, I remember when that article came out and I thought, my goodness, if that writer's getting all that out of my voice, I must be doing something right.
Right.
So, because I love all three of those artists, I cover all three of them. So yeah.
Well, who are some of your musical influences?
When I was a kid, I was really my dad had a great vinyl collection, so I loved all the soul singers from the 60s. So I was a big Janis Joplin fan, and Tina Turner and Aretha Franklin, and I really got into Bonnie Raitt. But when I was then learning how to play the guitar in the 90s, all these amazing female singer-songwriters were on the scene, and Sarah McLachlan had founded the Lilith Fair Festival, which if you asked what kind of music does Regina play, it'd be yeah, basically all the women who played at the Lilith Fair. Besides my own songs, I loved Sheryl Crow and Sarah McLachlan and the Indigo Girls and Tracy Chapman and Bonnie Raitt and all of those, Sinead O'Connor. I'm trying to think of all the Dixie Chicks played one year when I went to the festival.
Melissa Etheridge?
Two of the years. Melissa Etheridge actually never played the Lilith Fair, but she also was, huge influence on me. So
interesting. We do have a clip of your singing For This Love, and I'd like to play it right now. great song. You do a wonderful job. Did you
Thank
write the
you.
lyrics to that also?
I wrote the whole thing. Yep. Yep.
Wonderful.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Well, you're also an educator and an advocate. And let's break them down, starting with education. You have certificates from the Berklee School of Music online in Pro Tools and Ableton Live, which means basically that you're trained in production,
Yes.
recording, editing, mixing, sampling, composition. Now, why did you seek out this kind of training?
To be honest, and I don't want to offend any of the men watching or listening, watching if you're on the video, I got tired of being in a room and having to rely on guys all the time to push the buttons. So I decided it was time for me. I was in my mid 30s, but I was like, my brother's actually a studio engineer. So I was like, why am I relying on other people to do this? Like, I know what I want to do. I just don't know how to accomplish that within a software. So I decided to go. I mean, Berkeley's and being I have my master's degree in instructional design, and so their online school is fantastic. They have their own, course management system, and the way they put you through the courses is really fantastic. I did a sample of one of their courses on an online course thing called Coursera, and once I had done that, I said, oh, I got to go ahead and take the full on courses. So I took 3 courses in Ableton, 4 courses in Pro Tools.
So, are you your own studio engineer?
I mean, I can if I need to. When I recorded For This Love and all the songs that are coming out on my EP, I actually did a Kickstarter campaign to raise money to go into a studio and have somebody else do all that stuff because it takes so much time to do it by yourself. But yeah, I do produce stuff in my own studio for myself and for other artists now. I've gotten into producing for other artists as well. I really like editing. So if I'm recording in another studio and I want to come back and really, shape and mold whatever parts have been sung or played, that's where I feel like I'm the strongest. I definitely would pass things off for other people to mix and master. That's not really my strong suit. If I had to do it in a pinch, I could do it.
So you have like a full studio in your house?
I do. It's actually my garage from my house is detached, and when I bought my house in 2014, it was a finished space. Somebody had been renting it, and so I rented it for a while to sort of get myself on track with buying a house, and then I turned it into a music studio. So I can record full drums. I don't have isolation, so I can't do like a whole band at once, but yeah, I can record everything here.
Did you record a lot of your own songs then here, there?
I I have one song that is just been released a couple months ago in May. It's called Toes. It's just a solo acoustic and vocal. I did record all of that in my studio. The other songs that are out there, most everything was of my most recent stuff that's been released. I did record in Oakland, California. So most of the time, what I use my own studio for is to record vocals. So if I get session work from other people, they'll send me a song and I'll sing on the song and do all the editing and stuff in here. So it's more of a project studio than like a full on studio.
Mhm.
I don't have all the bells and whistles that a big studio would have for sure.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Christian Porter and how you actually came to sing with him. I thought that was an interesting story.
Christian was born in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and so I just met him playing out. He was, a young guy, playing on the scene. He's 10 years younger than me, so we just became friends. And one, there was a production company at the time, I can't remember. They hired Christian and I and a couple of other songwriters to go in and do this guerrilla promotion event in New York City. So we stood on street corners for 3 days in a row in November. It was so cold. To to sing all of these songs, we had to learn like 15 songs that were nominated for American Music Awards that year. I don't even remember what year it is, so forgive me for that. But so we just like stood on these street corners and we would have to go into like coffee shops to like warm up because our hands were freezing. And that kind of just struck up conversations. And then I think he had asked me to come and sing a duet with him on a home production that he was working on. And then after he had some success on The Voice, he'd come back. I'd played in his band for a little while. And then he said, why don't we try to write songs and actually make a duo out of this? And I said, sure. And that was around 2014 when that started.
What exactly is a guerrilla music on the streets? I mean, what is that? What are you trying to do?
So this production company had hired us to be the musicians, and there were all these other people that were like hype people, and they had like flyers that they were passing out, and they were like signs holding up like "Watch the Music Awards." And I had never, and I have never since been part of something like that, but that's what they called it. So I I don't know why they call it that, just because it's kind of aggressive, I guess. I don't know, but it
Did
was
people
fun.
try to give you money?
No, sadly, they did not. I wish they would have.
Now you are no longer playing with Christian Porter. You decided to break up as a duo. Is that
No,
correct?
in 2019, both of us had written a lot of solo material, and we just took it as a like, hey, I really want to record these songs on my own because they weren't duo focused. Because we wrote all of our songs together that are on our full length album, with the exception of two. One Christian had wrote solo, and one I had written solo. And so, but we both still enjoyed writing solo. So when 2019 came around, we were like, yeah, let's just do this. We're kind of doing our own thing right now. I don't really know that we planned to permanently do that, but when the COVID happened, it was like anything we could do to sort of survive
Mm,
as indie musicians.
sure.
But we still have a really great relationship. He actually, aside from also playing, is working for a Bluetooth pedal company right now. And he sent me a pedal and was like, can you demo this for me on a video? I said, sure. So yeah, he's in Nashville now. So he's doing really well.
Good for him. Good for him. So you've also been an artist in residence, and you've tried to, quote, empower young people to use technology to create the music they envision and to promote positive character development through music. Tell us about the students you've worked with.
So that's kind of twofold. The artist in residence is, I've done that at the collegiate level. So I go into like university settings. Sometimes it's just for a workshop. I've actually done it for a whole week at a time, where I've actually gotten to go into the studio with students, and they take like raw ideas or a song that they're working on, and they sort of play it for me and say, what do you think of this? And how do I, think about this from a production standpoint, things like that. So I've done that at the collegiate level. And I've taken students who, I'm a guitar player, so the beginnings, and still my a lot of my songwriting is just me with an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar sometimes, and I'm not focused on like the production aspects and the software. So when I go to artists in residence and I talk about working in Ableton specifically, because that's the software that I prefer to write in, I just talk to them about getting their ideas out, and while they're writing, sort of creating a demo. Because a lot of times it's like you can be a singer and write, record something in your phone, let's say, for example, and then but that's all you have. But if you want to take that and sort of build on it, maybe you want to add some drums to it, maybe you want to add some bass to it, you can do that all with a small MIDI keyboard in a software if you want to, just to have the ideas there. So when you then start working with a producer, or you start recording a final version of it, you have a better blueprint, and it takes less time in the studio, and less time in the studio is less money.
That's right. So these artist in residence programs, they had studios, they had mini studios in the colleges you worked in?
Yes. All of the times I've gone, so like I'm going to be at Salisbury University in Maryland in October this year, and they have a studio there on campus. So sometimes I'm teaching in a big format studio, and sometimes I just have like my laptop with an audio interface, and I'm just have like sort of a mobile rig with me, so I'm can be sort of on the level of like a college student. Like if you want to work in your dorm room, here's your setup kind of situation.
Wow. I think I read somewhere that you had written, my goal is to help each student I come into contact with learn the things I wish I had known sooner.
Yeah,
Like
yes.
what?
Well, recording, honestly, because nowadays with streaming and all the, ways that you can share your music, if you can create quality stuff on your own and you're not relying on, and honestly, even if it's not quality in the beginning, if you're just doing it to learn, I wish I had had that experience when I was a teenager. I'm going to teach camp in Ohio next week, and I'm be working with all teenagers, and that is basically what I try to empower them to do.
How do you impart that exactly? I mean, it's sort of hard to do without the studio and so on and so forth.
So I go into basically like a choir room with my laptop, an audio interface. I usually have a microphone, um, and a MIDI controller, which MIDI just basically helps you. There's lots of sort of like virtual instruments. So as long as you have a MIDI controller to make sound with, it's not the controller itself isn't actually making the sound. It's just giving information to the software to make the sound. So
Mhm.
that's getting, I guess that's a little technical, but
Well, I mean, though you can add drums or a flute or
yes,
whatever.
exactly, exactly. So I just basically take the most minimal setup that I have and say, I have created a song with just this. and then show them that song and play it for them in the software.
So how do you think AI is going to change all that?
I think AI is what I know in the plugins that I work in already within audio recording software. It's it can be really beneficial, but I also think that it's never going to be a substitute for people's real ears and real voices. I think, yeah, you're gonna, you know, from a commercial standpoint, companies are going to now be able to, use AI music, which is going to not pay musicians like me to do that. And that is an extremely unfortunate part. But I think that real musicians who actually sing and play instruments are, going to have their own sort of renaissance throughout the process of all of this to figure out how we can survive. And I think the need for human connection is always going to be a part of it. And knowing the stories behind the songs, like you have AI that's created a song, they're like, well, that's a great song. Well, where's the heart in it? Well, there isn't any if it's been created by I'm gonna say there isn't any because somebody designed that software and there is heart in that, but it's devoid of like a real story that can be told by a human.
I know I'm not supposed to have an opinion, but bravo for that.
I mean, I'm not trying to necessarily downplay it completely because I do think just like everything, everything in moderation, right? As a technology forward thinking person, there's lots of advantages to using technology, but also it's just all within moderation.
Let's talk about your advocacy, narrowing the gender gap in the music industry. How do you define that gap today, and what are you working to do to change it?
So I belong to an organization called Women in Music. It's a huge global organization. There's chapters literally all over the world. And really, it's just to promote as much as you can working with other women and or non-binary folks in my case as well, because I'm a real champion for the queer community. But it's really just about saying, how can I get more women in the room? So in this most recent project I worked on, I hired a female producer because I wanted to work with a woman. It's the first time I'd ever worked with a female producer, and it was absolutely life changing for me, honestly, because just the and there's nothing against all the I've worked with some fantastic men in the studio, so it's nothing against them, but it's just like, everything in balance, right? Like you've got these stories that women are telling that because of their experiences that are very different from male perspective. And I just think that in the studio environment or in the writing music in general is just a really great thing to have. It's one of the reasons why I think the songs I wrote with Christian were so great because he had a male perspective and I had a female perspective and we were able to bring that together. So my goal now is just to get as many women involved as possible. I forged a really great relationship with two women that I worked at this camp that I'm about to go work at in Ohio. Um, and we actually have sort of banded together and we're working on putting together a camp for all women, actually, for either next year or the year after. So, because we just want to get more women in the room. It's only like 4% of all music is produced by women.
Well, you still see a lot of discrimination then. In other words,
Yes.
there are capable women out there, but they're not getting through the door.
Yeah, and there are a lot of men actually that want that, but it's a lot of women actually being able to say, "Hey, I want to do this." Like so myself, for example, like taking initiative to say, "I want to push these buttons and I want to figure this out." But there are some absolutely amazing women working in the industry in all facets, and I just think we need to promote more of that in younger women to say, "Hey, you know what? You can do this too."
I think that's great. Now, you're going to be working with the NEPA Philharmonic coming up in a couple of weeks. I have tickets, by the way. I intend to go.
Great.
What are you going to sing? And have you ever worked with a full orchestra before?
It's not gonna be a full orchestra, it's a quartet, and yes, I have worked with a quartet before. The first violinist, Chris Sousa, has been one of my very good friends for a very long time. We met working in a wedding together and just forged a great friendship, and we've actually worked as a string quartet with guitar and vocal on a Christmas show before. So, that was where this whole thing and Leah Valencias, who's gonna be the second violinist also at the show, she was also very instrumental in getting all of us together for this performance. So the thing that we have not done before that will be a first for me is they are actually charting my songs for strings, my original songs. So we're going to be playing a handful of my original music with the string quartet, and that's going to be the first time for me, and I am very excited to do that. It's a very different environment. I play a lot more by ear. I can read music, but I don't like read from charts the way a string quartet will read from charts. So finding a way to sort of marry the way that we play music together is always like the challenging, but also the most awesome part. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, I should assume that you'll be practicing ahead of time, right? It won't be a
Yes.
total surprise on the stage.
Yes, absolutely. Chris and I have gotten together to discuss. So I'm going to be playing about half of the show with them, and then they are going to also do some compositions that are going to be just instrumental as well.
Well, tell us about some of the other things you have upcoming. You mentioned the camp. Do you have some other concerts coming up?
So I basically play all summer. I'm because I've been releasing music and I'm on my own. I actually had a cover song just get released yesterday of a Nirvana song called All Apologies, and it's just myself, an acoustic guitar, and a pedal steel. And I kind of happened on that in the studio. We had some extra time with the pedal steel player when I was recording in California, and he was like, "Let's just do a song." So we did it in one take, and I'd never expected it to turn out as well as it did, but here we are, and I released it. So um, a lot of the things that I would normally be doing, like trying to get out on the road and tour, I haven't done as much this last year because I've been so focused on just trying to promote and create content and things to sort of promote everything that's been coming out. So that's mostly what I've been working on right now. All the shows that I have for the rest of this year actually are mostly local. I think I have maybe a show in Delaware and in September, and I might have a couple other shows. But yeah, everything else is just, a lot of live music and just continuing to create content to promote the music that I'm releasing.
Well, tell us a little bit about the content. Tell us about some of the new songs.
So I did a full-length music video professionally shot by a videographer for This Love, which is the song that we just heard, and then also another song called One Big Lie. That also has a full-length music video that's been released, and we will be playing that one at the concert with the string quartet, which I'm very excited about. It's a very sultry song. And then I actually shot and edited and produced a music video all on my own for one of my songs called Quiet Room. These are all on my YouTube channel, so if you want to check them out and subscribe, that would be super helpful to me. And the rest of the content is kind of like still in process because video editing is not something that comes super naturally to me. I'm definitely getting better at it, but it's very time consuming. And so I have some other video that's going to be coming out and also just releasing like short clips on my Instagram or my TikTok or whatever. All that stuff takes a lot of time.
It does. It does. I must say that a lot of your music is danceable.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't when I somebody asked me that when you write a song, like, what's your goal? And I'm like, I don't. And that's to finish it, really. That's it. The goal is to finish it because I don't really know. Sometimes I just sort of let the muse kind of take over. The song One Big Lie that I wrote, I started that with drum samples in Ableton. So that was different for me. I had a lot of my songs I would start on guitar because I'm a guitarist. And I've actually written a lot more in that way. There's a creator that I follow on YouTube that does a beat challenge every October. He calls it Beattober, and the challenge is to create a 1 minute beat for every day of the month. And I've done sporadically in past years, but this last year I did every day of October. So if you want to go on my Instagram, you can see all these 1 minute beat videos, and it's really cool because it doesn't make me focus on the lyrics because I am a lyric writer and just focus on the process of like creating music, which is really cool.
That sounds terrific. It's been wonderful speaking with you. And I look forward to listening to more of your songs and
Thank
at the
you.
concert in Harmony in the Woods. Thank you so much for being with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having
Any
me.
parting words from Regina Sayles?
If you want to find out where I'm playing or just find out what I'm doing, just follow me on Instagram or TikTok. It's at Regina Sayles, and TikTok is at Regina Sayles 0. And you can find me on YouTube at Regina Sayles.
And you have a website,
I do,
reginasayles.com.
reginasayles.com. I try to keep it simple for you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
This podcast has been brought to you by AM Sky, a third-generation family insurance business started in 1920. I'm your host, Lisa Champeau. Talk to you next time.